This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring author, psychologist, and daily contributor, Shavaun Scott.
The death of Mica Miller, a lot of people questioning what exactly happened here, and there is a lot to digest. I've been sitting here the last few days going through court documents, going through accusations from her sister, from the ex-wife of John Paul Miller, who is the surviving spouse of Mica, who a lot of accusations are being thrown at, and it's confusing. It's very confusing. And I'm trying to take an objective look at this and not just go down the road of, well, he must have done it. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm going to let the investigators go and figure that out themselves. But from an objective standpoint, it's confusing. Mica Miller, from what we understand, from what has been portrayed mainly from John Paul Miller, is that she suffered from several mental illnesses. If we're to believe that, we don't have any documentation, but if we're to believe that that's what is going on, it's not a crazy stretch sometimes to think, well, that person could be suicidal. He claims that he was trying to help her for the last many weeks and months to take her medicine, Valium, and that was going to prevent her from killing herself. We have seen her in her own videos, though, talking about abuse, talking about escaping abuse, and each side really presenting their own narrative. Shavaun Scott, psychotherapist and author, joining us to discuss. This is just bizarre, and I think that the biggest bizarre point that got my attention was more than one shell casing on the ground from a bullet to the head suicide. That was the initial red flag. What were some of the red flags for you on this?
The real red flags for me were watching some of the televised broadcast sermons that this guy had given. Mm-hmm. Again, another kind of fringe religious leader in a fringe kind of church. This wasn't just the Episcopal church down on the end of the street corner or something. You had a lot of real red flags with this guy. He was talking in one of his sermons about being on 900 milligrams of lithium himself per day, seeing a psychiatrist every week, and going to deliverance meetings 3 times a week, and that he was possessed by demons. And so deliverance meetings mean they're casting demons out of you. So as soon as I witnessed that, I thought, okay, here's another clinical term for you. I don't use this one all the time, but you might want to write it down. It's called Fruit Loop. Okay. I said, this guy is a Fruit Loop. And apparently he had a pattern of intimidation and control. And while Mica may have had her own psychiatric issues, we don't know. To be married to him, we would have to question judgment there. But women who live under the threat of domestic violence or abuse or control in some way very often develop anxiety, depression, PTSD symptoms, and they can self-harm. You do see that happen. Yeah. So I would certainly be looking at him.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and the fact that he's out there sharing his narrative. I mean, I guess if you have a bunch of people looking at you saying, we think you might have killed your wife, well, it might be more advantageous to lawyer up. But I don't know that going on social media and constantly pushing your narrative is going to be all that successful, because it's not coming across very well, I think, to most people. But what was weird to me about the whole thing is the narrative was pushed immediately. Literally the day after she died, he's in church preaching. He feels the need to still go up there and preach, not even just take a breath. I think everyone would understand, like, okay, it's maybe not your day to be up here. Let's take a look at that just the day after and some of the instructions that he gives his congregation.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can, so y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit, because I don't want to I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're going to have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
Did we all know that she wasn't well mentally? Did everyone at the church know that? Why would you? I mean, it just seems a little even crass just to say that.
Yeah. He's really trying to control the narrative, and even telling people that, I don't want you to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think in that, continuing that particular clip, he went on to say, but we want you to still continue to come to church and donate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Continue to give. So, and for this to have just happened the night before, and as I understand it, this was at the end of an hour-long sermon he had just given. So again, what's really going on? It doesn't all add up.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.